What is going on, people of YouTube? It's your boy M. Lee, the hobby collector, and I'm here to give you guys an unboxing of the Vizio 50-inch 4K TV with internet apps. As usual, TVs these days have internet apps, or either it has 3D or both. You know, you get your usual apps like Netflix, Amazon Instant Video, which I just renewed my Amazon Prime, so that's just in time. Netflix also, I don't know if it's already out, but they're coming out with their HD 4K stream. I think it's going to cost a little bit more for your monthly subscription, but who knows? I don't know yet. I just been barely looking into it. So to give you guys a little breakdown on my little story real quick, I gave myself a little budget of $700 to get myself to replace a TV I had to sell last year due to financial stuff, and I was going to replace that TV and also get a small TV for my room and stuff like that, get myself around $700 to $750 budget. But I seen this TV at Walmart, and with me, I'm not really an early adopter. I'm like a second gen or third gen adopter. I wait like 2 or 3 years, and I was gonna wait like another year and a half to get a 4K TV when prices start dropping down, when people start working out the kinks of technical stuff that may be happening with the TVs and stuff. And I watch other people's videos about what they think about it, and I was gonna wait until then. But Black Friday 2014, I seen a TV, this 4K. Well, I didn't see it in person. I didn't see it turned on, but I seen they had it on sale. And I talked to the tech guy. He was saying, yeah, man, these TVs, they're like 1/5 of the price of other Samsung, Sony 4K TVs, but they do a very good job at 4K. And Vizio done a good job at making this TV, and it's super crisp. You really can't see it's no difference than the other TVs. It's just the price is real good and stuff like that. And like, okay, but I still didn't pick up one. And I wasn't planning on picking up one, like I said, till like a year and a half later. So a couple of weeks before I even had the money to go purchase me my TVs and stuff like that, I ran across this TV at Walmart. It was on a display, it was turned on. I didn't even know that Walmart had the 4K TV up, on display. I was just walking around browsing the TVs, and all of a sudden, out of my peripheral vision, I see something that looks like a nice woman, thick, inside a nice short dress, nice silky smooth legs, freshly shaved with lotion on. Nice green eyes. I like green eyes. That's my personal preference. Nice green eyes with some nice bouncy hair, just thick and curly, and like just with some just buttery smooth skin. I'm like, what your name is? So I walked on up over there, made my way, did my little pimp walk, you know what I'm saying? I stood there in front of it, and like, I froze up. I couldn't say nothing. My mouth just dropped. I was just staring, and she was staring right back at me with all its 4K glory just on that screen. I was like, what the hell am I looking at right now? I know it's not a 3D TV, but this shit looks 3D. Almost lost my mind. My son was with me, my girl was with me. We were just standing there, just like, I was amazed. And it had like some nature stuff up on there, like little shots of like the mountains and the wilderness, and I like stuff like that. And just how crisp the colors, the dark tones, the contrast, the pixels. I'm like, dude, are you serious right now? So, kind of had a moment, almost bust one, and I ain't talking about a cap, you get what I'm saying. But anyways, the only issue was it was out of my budget. I'm real strict on myself when it comes to spending money, when it comes to saving stuff, when it comes to buying certain things, and investing inside certain things, how much money I want to spend on certain stuff. But I just had to, this girl, she was just doing too much. She seducing me too easily, had me hypnotized. So I like, no, baby, I'm gonna spend my money on you, girl. You gonna take my money right now. I didn't have it right now, but I promised her. I'm like, no, baby, I'm coming back. When I get my money, I'm coming back for you, girl. So don't take your ass nowhere. I'm coming back. I'll be back. In front of my girl, I was telling that girl I'll be back. $898 at Walmart. Luckily, I work at Walmart, so I get 10% off after tax, and after my 10% off, on top of, all that, came up to a little bit over $800. And yes, it's about 100 and something over my budget, but is that 100 and something worth it? I think so. Even though I ran into some technical difficulties, some game lag, which I'm gonna get into in a second, I still think so. Now, there's not much 4K content out. But the main thing I wanted to do when I first got this TV was watch some of the 4K videos on YouTube, which I saved inside my favorites and stuff that I was watching on my 1080p screen, which looks super crisp. So I knew it was going to look crisp on my 4K screen. watching it on my 4K screen, it looks real good. You know, I was expecting it to look more better, but it looks pretty good, and that's just because it's internet video. It's still, even though it's 4K, it still has that internet look to it. It's gonna have that compression look to it, some kind of slight compression to it. Because I'm pretty sure if freaking Michael Bay or any major director that's using 4K cameras and $35,000, $50,000, $75,000 cameras, and they come and hooked up their stuff directly to my TV with 4K images they captured, I'm pretty sure it's gonna look way better than anything you can watch on YouTube because it's directly from the source. So when you upload stuff to the internet, it's still gonna have that internet look to it. Now, before I even was able to get into 4K glory, I had some technical difficulties. You know, the HDMI cable I was using supposed to be an ultra high-end future-proof cable, which I also had issues with on my PS3, which for some reason it's a Sony cable. About $75 I paid for this cable, super high-end Sony cable made for 3D and everything, but it doesn't work on my PlayStation 3. So ever since then, I've been having it hooked up to either my Xbox or my PC. Currently it's been hooked up to my PC all this time, and you know, been using it to play my PC games. So when I was having my PC hooked up to my screen, I tried to enable 4K. Even my graphics card was able to detect that my screen can go up to 4K and stuff like that. Even the computer never lies to you, and video games don't lie to you. If it shows that it can enable that setting, that means that setting is real. So when I went into that setting on my PC, the screen went black for like 10 seconds and then it went back to 1080p, which means that I wasn't getting a signal. Obviously, either my PC don't support it, my graphics card don't support it, or whatever the case may be, or there's something going on with the TV, or it's something with just me because I don't know what I'm doing. But it was the HDMI cable. So I was about to lose my mind. I was writing on forums, I was going Google trying to research issues with the 4K TV, couldn't find nothing. I haven't found that one person post the issue about the Vizio 4K TV. I've been trying to find it so I can fix my issue. So what I did, something kept telling me, you know what, just switch out your HDMI cord. Even though that one is more cheaper than that one, switch it out. That's why I think HDMI cables is a gimmick. You know, it's a cable, you don't need a super high-end cable. So I switched it out with the cable that came with my Xbox One, and it worked, but it didn't work right away. Basically, when I enabled 4K, I was getting like extreme mouse cursor lag. The mouse cursor was going ultra slow. I'm like, what is this? And then on the top of my screen, I was getting this white line flickering, like super bad, like my screen is about to die or something. So I didn't know what was up with that. So I restarted my computer, turned it back on, still was getting the same thing. So I right-clicked, went to my Catalyst settings for my R9 280X graphics card, and it shows that the TV can detect and run 4K. I went to the setting, I clicked on this box that says enable GPU resolution or scaling or something like that. Enabled that. That really didn't do anything. So when I select 4K again, I wasn't getting that crazy ass line across the screen, but I was getting, you know, extreme mouse lag. So what I did was restarted my computer, turned it back on, and I unenabled that setting inside my Catalyst, you know, settings, and all of a sudden it worked. No mouse lag, no nothing. So I'm like, okay, that was kind of weird. I enabled it, it didn't work. I unenabled it and it worked when it wasn't even enabled in the first place. So why didn't it work in the first place? Didn't get it. But the whole point is that it works now. And when you first enable 4K on your TV, even on your PC monitor, it's gonna make everything super small. Same thing when you take standard definition game or something and you set it to 1080p, it's gonna zoom everything in, make everything smaller. Because pretty much, if you want to know what 4K is, if you were to take this screen that you're watching right now and zoom it in to the biggest screen possible, set it to 1080p, it looks pretty decent, it looks pretty crisp. But if you take this screen, this YouTube screen, zoom it to the smallest screen possible and still watch it at 1080p, you notice that it's super sharp, right? 4K is for those small screens inside each corner of a screen to make one image. Or to explain it, let's say you got 4 19-inch HD TVs, right? And you take those TVs and you make it into one square. So you take two TVs at the top and 2 TVs at the bottom at 1080p, and you make those run one image. That's what 4K is. Now let's get into what you guys really want to know about. What games can run at 4K? Is there input lag? Let's really dig into this stuff right now. The first game I tested out was Skyrim. I wasn't sure if it was going to run at 4K, but you know, I went into the settings, long and behold, 4K. So I enabled it, went to Skyrim, and I was getting like a little bit of, there is lag, there is input lag. This is not a PC monitor. PC monitors are made to go at a high resolution and also give you that high refresh rate and 120 hertz and 60 hertz at a high resolution and stuff. That's why those small 27-inch, 24-inch monitors, even though they're small, they're still costs like around $700 to $800 because they freaking do two things instead of doing one thing to sacrifice the other. So running Skyrim at 4K wasn't getting a whole lot of lag, but you can notice it. Even a console gamer would notice it, even though, PC gamers are the main ones that notice stuff like that, but even a console gamer would notice it. Running the game at 1080p, it's smooth, it has no input lag. Some games, even at 1080p, had input lag, but you can barely notice it. It's tiny, but you can still, you can notice it if you're a PC gamer or whatever, which was kind of weird. Also, some games, when I set it to 1080p at 120 hertz, it was blurry, and my TV popped up a message saying that you're running this game at 1080i, even though I chose 1080p inside the game settings. So I chose a setting right before 1080p at 120 hertz, and the image got super crisp. So I guess that's the only trickery that Vizio is doing, that when you enable a 1080p game at 120 hertz, it's not really 1080p, it's 1080i, and when you choose the resolution right before 1080p, it's actually 1080p, or it's not 1080p, but it's the one, it looks like 1080p to me, and then even the screen, when I select 1920 or 1200 by 1000 or something like that, whatever settings come before 1080p on your game settings, the TV popped up saying that it's 1080p. So I guess it takes the rest of those pixels and upscales it, from there, and gives you 120 hertz and stuff. Like, for example, Far Cry 2 did that. I was running Far Cry 2 maxed out, ultra settings, DirectX 11, and at 4K, it actually barely had any lag at 4K. You can still notice it, but it ran real good, real smooth. And there got to be some kind of trickery, because there's no way in the world I'm running, even though Far Cry 2 is old, there's no way in the world I'm running that at 4K, and it's not even, I'm not losing any frames per second, like a whole lot of frames per second, and then there's some games that surprised me, which I wasn't expecting to run at a higher resolution. I just checked it anyways, like one of my favorite games of all time, probably my second most favorite game of all time, Half-Life 2, runs at 4K. It really surprised me. But the issue with that, I had an issue with that game and one other game. It had a lot of screen tearing. That game had a whole lot of screen tearing. Like, if you know what screen tearing is, I'm not about to explain it, but PC gamers, you know what that is. When you turn, when you move, like you get these choppy lines and stuff. So I set it back down to 1080p. Still was doing the same thing. I don't know if it's my cable. I don't know if it's my graphics card. It may be the cable. Maybe I need to get, I don't know if I'm using a HDMI 2.0. I don't know if that's a 2.0 or not. But maybe I need to go buy me an HDMI cable, and look into that, because I was getting a crap load of screen tearing. But for the most part, it was getting better on certain parts of Half-Life 2. But running Half-Life 2 on a 50-inch 4K TV, my God, incredible. Dishonored, which is another one of my favorite games that came out last year. Dishonored ran that at 4K. You can see the lag. The lag is there. It's present. You can see it a little bit. When you move the mouse cursor moved like 0.5, 0.6 seconds later. But it looks amazing at 4K, man. It actually put a smile on my face. I was worried about like some games that has already a lot of detail, like wondering if I'm going to notice that detail inside a game that already has a lot of detail. But when I was running Skyrim and Dishonored and a couple other games, it's like, yes, you do notice a difference. It takes those fine details and like makes it even more fine. Like, I don't know, it's like taking a fine woman and making her more fine. It's like, how the hell could, a woman be more fine when she already fine? And just to throw it out there, I had anti-aliasing turned off inside all the games I ran inside 4K. There's no point in having anti-aliasing on if you're going to be running inside 4K. It's going to stress your PC anyways, so you might as well turn it off. And 4K is going to make it look super crisp anyways. People say it can upscale 1080p games and stuff to 4K. It does a good job at upscaling. I don't even know if there's a setting that you got to choose to upscale it, or if it does it by itself. I'm not really sure, but I want to test out my Xbox One and PS3 as soon as possible. I know PS3 isn't native 1080p, but the Xbox One also isn't native 1080p, inside some games, but I still want to test it out. A lot of people have been saying the game console's been looking real good. And for my gamers out there on my gaming channel, the Universal Gamer. You guys know I'm gonna give you guys a detailed video of what games run at 4K, and like I said, Half-Life 2 runs at 4K, and that's a freaking 11-year-old game. I thought the developers, I didn't know PC games went up that high. I thought it went up to 1200 or 1440p. I didn't know it went to 4K. I thought developers would have to come out with a update to allow the games to run at 4K, but I guess it doesn't. You just got to have a monitor that can go to 4K, and then the game just pops up the setting. Some games don't, like Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5 only go to 1080p. Dark Souls only goes to 1080p or whatever. Does it? Yeah, I think Dark Souls only goes to 1080p. When I tested out, only 1080p. Inside Resident Evil 5, the game froze 2 times, and I was running it at 1080p at 120 frames per second. So before I close this video out, I want to tell you guys why I feel like it's still worth the money, even though I'm getting input lag from PC gaming and stuff like that. Maybe my graphics card, like I said, or maybe my HDMI cable, but you will get lag, so you don't want to run all your games at 4K. Maybe you want to cut it down to 1440p. You get all those in between resolutions too, 1440p, 1800. But even though you're getting a little bit of lag and that little kind of weirdness with the 1080i type stuff, it's worth it because it's one of the first TVs, at least from Vizio, where it actually really is 120 hertz. It really is 4K. Because your PC and your games won't lie to you. So if you want to know if your TV is real 120 hertz, like a long time ago when they came out with TVs that was 120 hertz, 240, but when people hooked it up to their PCs, their PC detected that it wasn't even showing that no setting for 120 hertz. This is a 50-inch TV that can do it, you know, at a real good price. And when I get into the game, when I get into the PC settings, it shows it right there. Also, to throw one more thing out there, the HDMI port that's marked yellow is the one you want to use for gaming. That's the only HDMI port that supports 4K at 60 hertz or whatever. All the other ones support 4K at 30 hertz. So with that said, man, it's been your boy M. Lee, the hobby collector. Hope you guys enjoyed this unboxing. Hopefully I gave you guys enough information. Thank you guys out there that have been subscribing and stuff like that, keeping me, you know, motivated and going with these YouTube videos. And thank you for a lot of people out there who have been watching my old TV overviews and TV settings. I'm gonna do another video for this TV showing you guys my TV settings. A lot of people love that stuff on YouTube. I still get comments from videos from 3, 4, 5 years ago of showing off my TV settings for certain TVs I had back then. So I'll be doing more of that. This TV has some real good settings, just your basic settings. Not basic, but by now they're basic. They're what most high-end TVs come with. So it's nothing that you won't see inside other TVs by now or whatever. But you know, yeah, I'm out. Peace.